Greetings, colleagues. One of my good friends moved to live in Turkey. In Ukraine, her activities were related to the education of children. Let me remind you that there is still a war in Ukraine, and according to some reports, more than 8 million people have left Ukraine. While a friend is being trained as a front-end developer, the question has become how to make money right now. Someone directed her towards working on filling in information on the websites. The question is how much such work can cost. She directed in my direction. The question, by the way, is not an easy one. In different businesses at different times, more than 20 different types of content managers worked for me. Therefore, I have something to tell you about it. Content management is a type of service that can be provided on short sales cycles and at low service costs. For me, the main problem has always been the inability to correctly estimate how much this or that work on filling websites of various types with information can cost. The second problem has always been the question of checking the quality of the filled information. Regardless of whether you are going to provide services for filling out the website, or you want to order such services, you need to understand that the following points may affect the assessment. Need to seek information or produce. For this item, you can imagine a scale, where on the left is the search and conditional copying of content, and on the right is content created from scratch. The more according to the terms of reference the scale should be on the right side, the more expensive such website content is. Content specificity. It must be understood that a person specializing in medicine is unlikely to write something good about the operation of cloud service protocols. Accordingly, here you can take several industries, and track the level of salaries in these areas. You should put some kind of coefficient to your industry concerning other industries. Content type. Video, photo, text, audio. For example, when I finished school, advertised around the city that I was good at searching for information, I was approached by a person who was looking for a live performance of some musical group and promised money in the monthly salary of my parents. The order surprised me, and of course, I didn't fulfill it, but you need to understand that searching for something on the internet is not only working on Google but also a certain creative process, depending on what material you need to fill the website in our case. Scope of work. You need to understand that the larger the volume, the lower the cost is not always. The simplest example is when you need to search for specific information, and the amount of information is quite limited, and each search for a new content element becomes more and more difficult. Website region and filling language. Oddly enough, here the coefficient is regulated by supply and demand. In most cases, this should be a conditional coefficient, which is equal to 1. That is, in most cases, for the majority, this will be the standard value, because the majority, as a rule, solves its local problem in its native language group. But, how to find these standard values? Any figures that you find on the internet need to be evaluated based on the listed points. Perhaps the cost has already been changed from the standard, taking into account some of these listed points. The content managers that I hired full-time to an office in Ukraine cost between $200 and $500 a month salary. If you need a full-time content manager, then $400 per month can be considered standard. This cost will include basic search and easy processing of text and images found on the internet. Work with content in English by a person for whom English is not a native language. Work with non-specialized content, that is, around everyday topics such as vacations, shopping, travel, etc. At the same time, you will always think that the material being filled is not enough and this material is not of the ideal quality for you. From the monthly cost, you can calculate the cost of an hour of work. It will be about $3, but I would take $7 for the standard. Because, those who work with hourly pay already, at least, can somehow evaluate their result and the possibility of completing the task you set. For example, I do not like hourly estimates, but the labor market works that way. As a performer, estimate the conditional cost of your hour. If you don't know how to evaluate the work, then try to physically make one element of what the customer asks for. Based on your hour, you will already have the specific cost you are looking for. As a customer, you should always remember that finding a contractor is a rather long process, and finding the right person for the price you need depends only on your motivation to find this person and your budget. In my case, it has always been a choice whether to settle for less than perfect quality content or to waste my time not finding a new person. Oh yeah, if you don't want to mess around with these coefficients, then there is an easier way. Ask those who have already done it or ask how much it might cost. With this option, if you are looking for a person to fill the website, then it will be a problem for you to set clear conditions, and you will need to experiment with different people anyway. If you are trying to evaluate the technical task of the customer, then I would recommend indicating to the customer the moment of the task, with which there may be problems. In any case, before starting work, there should always be a test order. In this scenario, I'm hiring 2 to 4 people for test work. For the test execution of the task, I pay the estimated cost of the work performed by a person. The contractor, after completing the task, already understands whether he is ready to work on the task described by me for the cost indicated by him or not. Please write in the comments if you agree with my assessment or not. And also, do not forget to like, and if you are interested in the topic of startups and online business, then subscribe to the channel. There are a lot of interesting things ahead. Peace.